What's good, everybody? Welcome in. Oh no.
Oh no.
What's good, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Power 2 podcast presented by Get Defensive Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Jordan. I'm here with my co host, DJ.
Hey.
Learning new software. It's weird. So, like, when you press start, it's just supposed to start. And then on my end, a thing always comes up where it's like, leave studio. And it's like, why would I leave the studio
I
if I
just
just
restarted.
hit record?
It's fine.
Where am I going?
The technology is using AI. You know it's not very smart.
Yeah, but it's done it every time, and I'm like, and that's why so it was like a second delayed. Cause I have to like click out of it, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is this up? I just hit record. I'm not leaving the studio. I'm in the studio.
We're here. Right now.
Get in the
Okay.
booth. Do you rap or do you tweet?
I can't tell. I can't tell. I can't tell. It's one of the best things Lotto has ever said.
Absolutely.
Apparently she's
Okay,
making some announcement soon. I don't know about what, but she is making an announcement soon. If you're a Lotto fan.
maybe it's a tour. Dochi just made an announcement about a tour,
Did
and
she?
now I have to spend money.
Well,
My
my
shorty missed
marketing
her
is
the
usually
first
right.
time. Yeah, shorty missed her the first time and is not planning on missing her this time. So good for me. I mean, I do like Dochi. It's not necessarily an issue, but
I need to get into her. I'm really bad about like listening to artists that are not just like the artists I always listen to. Like I'm really bad about let me listen to someone new, and then like I'll hear something or hear, especially on TikTok. Most more likely than not, I'll hear their music on TikTok and be like, wow, I enjoy this, and still just listen to the same five people. So,
yeah, because I bet you haven't listened to the album I told you to listen to.
anyways, welcome to Get Defensive Sports Network Power Two Podcast,
Hmm.
ladies and gentlemen.
Where we don't talk about the power of friendship. We talk about the power of
Talk about the
not
power of not listening to album recommendation.
crazy. The disrespect.
In my defense,
Nope.
I actually listen to a lot less music and podcasts in general
Nope.
because I
It's
don't
been
have as
weeks.
shut up because I don't have as long of a commute. I live so close to my job now. Like I don't really have like that's when I would have listened to an album or to a longer podcast or things like that. I don't have that type of time. So and then I don't listen to music and stuff like while I'm working because I'll be getting interrupted too much. So when did I have
Excuses.
when did I have my
Excuses.
mind?
Excuses.
Anyways, I don't make
What
any
are
sense.
what are excuses, DJ?
I'm not doing this with you today.
Anyways, you know what we are doing?
This
We're talking about the SEC.
we are.
We are previewing the SEC in our third installment of preview
Our
season.
preview season.
But before that, there's news. Sort
Um,
of, kind of news. Maybe,
maybe
maybe, quarter, maybe, sort of.
it's a point of it's a topic of discussion. So basically, what is going on is there is still lots and lots of movement and things going on in the WNBA. So if you guys are unaware, it has already been sort of known that the Connecticut Sun franchise was for sale. It is owned by a native tribe. I don't want to start lying and saying which tribe it is, but it's one of the only professional sports teams that have native tribal um, ownership, and they are ready to sell their majority stakes. And so basically, it came out recently that the minority owner in the Boston Celtics, one of the minority owners, is willing to make a $325 million offer to the Connecticut Sun ownership for the purchase of the team, which would be the highest ever team purchase in the WNBA history. And they are also promising $100 million to dedicate to a practice facility, but that also means that the franchise will be moving to Boston if that is all said and done. The WNBA, of course, has made it known, that's cute and everything, but individual teams do not get to choose when or where they move. That is actually up to the WNBA's board of governors, and they over here like, listen, y'all gotta get in line. You know how many cities on a WNBA team?
A
You
lot.
gotta get in line. So right now, there's nothing that's confirmed, but it is known that Boston Celtics minority ownership, they're trying to get in there. They're trying to get where the dollars and cents are, and that is with the WNBA.
Yes. $325 million would be the most that a team has ever sold for. It is also the most just in general because so I thought the expansion fee was 300 million. I keep
No,
seeing 250 now.
yeah, it's 250.
So the first report was wrong.
Yeah,
I
the
know I saw
first
300.
reported, Yeah, I'm like they got well, and it may have been reported that they had accumulated 300 million in expansion fees prior to learning about the three cities because Valkyries was 50 million, and then right after the Valkyries it went up to 250. So there was a point where the I think
No,
it was
it didn't go right
Boston.
up to 250 because Toronto didn't pay
Did they pay
250.
They didn't pay 250.
No, it like
Well, then I
expansion
don't
fees
know.
go up each round.
Well, I don't know because this Michigan, the I knew that it was 250.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I
I mean,
misunderstood.
it's
I
still
don't know.
almost $1 billion in expansion fees.
Yeah, but like either way, whether it's
Yeah.
250 or 300, 325 comes in over that. So
Yeah.
it would be the most expensive price in general of any sort for a WNBA team.
Yeah.
But as you are saying, which for man, I hate agreeing with sports leagues, but this is it's legitimately one of the first things that I thought about, and it was like there are other cities though.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I get it. Technically, if you buy it, you can do whatever you want. Maybe I mean not really because, like you said, the board of governors has to approve it. But it was just like, are they gonna let them go to Boston when like Houston and all these other things? And then it comes out that Boston didn't even submit a bid,
There is
and
no bid
that
currently for bidding for Boston.
and so like that makes it even more interesting. Where it's just like that's a way to like cheat the process. But when you if you and I think the interesting thing though is now the numbers out, right? So since the numbers out, can the W be like, we don't like this, and go to Tillman Fertitta in Houston, or go to any of the other groups and cities that they wanted, and be like, can you match or exceed? And if you will, we'll approve it to you. Because ultimately, I don't think the ownership of the Suns cares who gives them the money. So, I mean, I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know how much exact power the board of governors has, but seeing that they have to approve the deal, I could definitely, I do wonder if there's going to be some like, you see the numbers 325, and if they start getting some calls from some other people, like, yeah, Tennessee, they want the summit team. If Tennessee's like, we got 325. If Houston is like, who the W named specifically as a team that they were looking at, we got 325. So like I do wonder sort of what comes with that. I don't think Boston is awful. They are getting a soccer team. They obviously have the Celtics, whatever. Like it's just kind of awkward in that you'd be jumping the line, especially because again you didn't even put in a bid. Like why didn't you put in a bid? You know what I'm saying? Like if you
Well, and
wanted a team.
this has been a conversation though for some time. Like the Connecticut Sun has been on sale for a while, and that had kind of been the rumblings was that it would potentially be moved to Boston because of the strong appetite that Boston seems to have for women's basketball specifically. So that was always kind of like a rumor or like a murmuring that like if the Connecticut Sun were to sell, it would probably be moved to Boston at that point. So I think it's like now that there's somebody who's coming in and actually saying like, okay, I want to buy the team and move it to Boston. Now they're like, well, hold on, wait, because
Yeah, but I mean, rumors are rumors. I heard those too, but I think I think it's interesting though because like yes, while there's been rumors about the Suns and things like that, the expansion process has been going on much longer
oh
than
yeah, the
that.
expansion
And so
process.
for Boston to have never submitted a bid, but then to call the Suns, I just think it's interesting. Like
I
you would
think that
think
was
you would
probably
do
their
both.
way. I think that was probably the point.
Yeah. Well, it may not work for him. It may work for him. You never know. But like,
I think they
it may
kind of
not work
used
for
that
them.
leverage of being associated with the Celtics to
Houston
get
got a team.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
literally, like the Tillman Fertitta owns everything in Houston. He
Oh
owns the
yeah,
Rockets,
yeah.
and he damn near owns the Houston Cougars. Like he's their biggest donor. So like, he like NBA ownership not enough. Like because Houston has the NBA ownership. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, I don't care either way. As long as whoever has the team is actually doing the work and doing the facilities and all the things which clearly the ownership of the Suns did not want to do.
The facilities for me, the Sun, but it is the facility for me. It's
Yeah.
like we cannot be expanding teams without no facilities. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to. I don't care. We need a
Yep.
facility. Period. The end.
And Boston committed to spending $100 million on a facility,
They did.
but that's also I don't want to go too deep into this, but
That's how much money it's going to cost.
I've been following a lot with the Boston soccer team, and they've been having major issues getting approved, and like They also had major issues with even their rollout, but there was a lot of beef with like location, and they were, because they don't have a whole lot of space, they were trying to do this like public private sponsorship
Oh,
thing where like the stadium, like they would spend,
the
like they
city
would,
would pay for the stadium and all of that.
well, not even that, the city, yes, but like they want to do it, they want to take a park, like a public park, and put it there, so then they're like, it's like the city would still own it, and but then like the local teams could use it as well, but then all the residents are like, this is a park and you're gonna put this in our neighborhood. Like Boston's like a big city in a way, but it's not like an expansive city. It's like a big city. I mean, it's not as bad as New York, but it's like a big city, and like New York is a big city where there's not a lot of space, and so there's just been a whole lot of stuff. So like I'm also kind of interested in like, where are you putting the
Where do they
facility? Like, are
sit?
you also
Yeah.
going to have the same issue? But maybe not, because it's the Celtics, and the Celtics can probably do whatever they want to now that they've won a ring. But there was just a lot of pushback on like building for the soccer team, just because they're like, where are you putting this?
Where
There's
is
no
this going?
space. Like we don't want you in our neighborhood. Like we don't want that sort of traffic. Like
Traffic.
we want the team, but like not here. So that is another kind of interesting thing with Boston, where like Houston is Texas. It's Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean,
they can
Dallas
find
probably
some
has the same
space.
problem. That's why all the teams play in Arlington because
Yeah.
there's land in Arlington. There's not really a lot of land in Dallas to play with. Like even with the Dallas Wings, like when the Dallas Wings move to the new facility, they're moving to a facility that already exists. It's just getting repurposed for basketball. It's the K. Bailey Hutchinson Center. It used to be like an event center, so they're gonna repurpose it for basketball because they can't play in American because American already has the Stars and the Mavericks. So it's like, and if and even with the Mavericks wanting to move locations from American, there's all this conversation about like where they're gonna go. There is no space. There is no space in Dallas proper. Plus, also Dallas proper don't want to pay for it. That's why Arlington has all the teams because Arlington is willing to put the money up and say we're gonna eat the cost of this, so that way we can have the economic benefits of the stuff being in Arlington. So the Wings are there, the Cowboys are there, and the Rangers are there, and the Cowboys and the Rangers have brand new facilities there. So
Yep. Cowboys just spent a lot of money, so who knows?
we shall see. It'll be interesting. That's for
Yeah.
sure. I do. Oh gosh, I don't want to get into this, but I do feel like we are gonna have to have the conversation very, very soon about the WNBA expanding entirely too quickly. But hey, who knows?
Okay. I don't agree with that. I think they're not
I
doing
think
it.
there is.
I think it's going too slow, honestly.
Here's the thing: we're about to have an expansion draft every year for the next 4 or 5 years. That in and of itself is going to cause like so much just like movement of players, and first of all it's already going to be frenzied next year because most of everybody except for like two people are free agents, so that's already going to be a mess. Then as soon as everybody gets settled, then we have an expansion draft, then everybody gets settled, then we have another expansion draft, then we have another expansion draft. Like
I mean, this is just how it goes. That's how it
that's
went
a
in
lot.
men's and women's soccer, who have both been expanding before. My biggest issue, it's not even that they're, and that's what the reason why I say they're doing it too slow, is they're just spreading it out too much.
Mm.
Like for example, like, and except for Philly, I think it is, which like has like a legitimate reason for being the last one,
Hmm.
because they're already building a new stadium for the 76ers, and that's like the timeline. They're actually supposed to start a year before. Like their stadium was supposed to open in 2030, and now they're saying maybe we're going to try to open it in 2029 to be ready for this team. But like there's no reason that Cleveland and Detroit aren't starting at the same time. Like that's my, like, if you did it where the teams started at the same time.
But then
So
that's
like
two
let's say like,
expansion drafts in one season.
but it's not. It's just one draft for two teams. You're not doing it.
Well, yeah, not at separate times, but two teams are drafting from 156 from a pool of 156 players at that point.
But that's more stable than, I mean, they're going to do that anyway. That's more stable than doing one in 27, one in 28, one in 29, which is what you're complaining about. I
Yes,
just think the team should, like, because next year it's two, right? The Tempo
that's just
and
tempo.
Toronto doesn't start next year.
That's tempo. That's the tempo.
Sorry, this Portland Fire. They don't start next year.
No, Portland is Portland. That's what I'm saying. It's every year for the next 5 years because tempo is going to go this year. Portland is going to go the year after that. Then it's Philly, Detroit, whichever the order is after that. Cleveland, Detroit, Philly, whatever the order is after that. There's one every year. Am I insane?
I thought Portland and Toronto were starting the same year.
Potentially, hopefully. I actually don't know because
I
I'm
think
pretty sure Portland. What the heck? Do they have a name? Yes.
Fire just came out. Yeah. They're joining at the same time. Toronto, and Portland are both joining in 2026.
Okay, my freaking Google over here talking to me about the actual Portland Fire Rescue Team. Hello. Right. Whatever. Either way, I'm not a fan.
But like think,
Yeah, 2026 season.
but yeah, but like think about it, right? So it's still and it's whatever. But you have two in 2026. Cleveland's not until 2028. Detroit's 2029. If you just put Cleveland and Detroit both in 28 or in 29, you get 2 or 3 years of consistency. That's most of the contracts they're signing anyway. The issue for me comes in when you're doing 28, 29, and 30. Like that's dumb.
That to me is too much.
Like you could do 2 and 28. You could do Cleveland, Detroit, and then you could do another one in 30. Well, that doesn't make sense just because Philadelphia makes the even number because you put Golden State by themselves.
Yeah.
But like you could push Philly to 2020, 2030. No, you could keep them if you math. If you move Detroit to 2028, you could keep Philly in 2030 because then it's every other year. And players sign 2, 3 year contracts, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that. I don't think they're expanding too fast. I just think, as we say all the time, they're doing it poorly, doing it every single year. They just don't care about the players, which we know that. Which is why
That's all I'm saying. I feel like
the
that could cause an issue like down the line because I think a lot of people like I always think about the fandom too. Like that could cause issues with like, oh, I'm a fan of this team because my favorite players are on this team, but because they keep getting drafted to all these 40 million different places, you're going to start to lose like brand loyalty.
but also
Be an issue.
it's unfair, but it's not going to be the good players.
And it's not, but also with that being said, Golden State is pretty good
Yeah.
considering that notion, right?
But there
So
was a lot of people who were like iffy, and myself included, on their roster. Like you're not like as far as like brand things, like you're not getting Caitlin Clark, you're not getting Angel
yeah,
Reese, you're not getting Nafisha Collier, you're not you know what I mean. Like you make it. I don't
but
even know
they
if you're
also
getting
can't
DJ.
core everybody, right? So there's gonna
Yeah,
be
but
some good players that won't get cored.
well, yeah, of course, but like when you're talking about brand loyalty and things, like you're not like I mean Vegas this year cored their main people and then they traded them and let them go in free agency, but like they didn't take none of the core from Vegas. Like you have your
Yeah,
three or whatever it is. So, I mean, yeah, I think I mean I definitely understand what you're saying. I just think it shouldn't be every year, which we do
I
agree on.
agree. That's what I'm
But I
saying. Like
don't.
with that could be
But you do have to do it at this time because you need to get to a number that you can stay at.
yeah.
And like 18, I wanted 20, but 18 is a legitimate number you could stay at for 5, 10 years and be cool.
I mean, not with
20, I
their
think 20 is
scheduling,
better.
not with their scheduling, but yes,
Yeah,
there's
but
just so much. I think that's what's irritating is if the expansion was the only thing that was going on, fine. But because roster spots and scheduling issues and expanding the playoffs and expanding the season in general and people aren't getting paid and like all of this is going on at the same time, it's like, okay.
yeah. But I mean, some of that is just the nature
Right.
of you can't control timing, right?
Yeah.
It blew up all at once, and you have to capitalize, which is why I don't think it's going too fast because you can't say, wait, we have all this momentum, people care, let's
Yeah.
do expansion in 10 years. Like, you need to do it now. And
Yeah.
then they do, but the thing that they need to do, which is why I've always been stuck on 20, is they need to get to a number. 20 would be 2/3 of what basketball has. It's almost 2/3 of the NFL. It's more currently than the NWSL. It's exactly 2/3 again of baseball. Like if the men's leagues have 30. And the women's leagues are getting there. Getting to 20, I think, is a good number to like take a breath, and then whenever you're ready again, you can start it. I mean, you don't. 30 is like the number in professional sports, but like, you don't even have to get to 30. Like you could just be 20 if
Yeah, and be
if that
fine.
really
Yeah,
like worked
yeah.
for you. But like you could take X number of years to really sort of think about it, and knowing well, we did still have 8 other cities, because right now with the 8 cities they could get to 26 if they approved all of them. We did have 8 other cities maybe in 5 or so years, meaning 5 years from 2030 to
Yeah.
2035.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a couple other cities that want to get in. Let's add a few more, and then you know, maybe do it longer. But I think you do it now, it's a little awkward, it's a little unfortunate. You get to that number you want to stay at. Maybe it's 18, maybe it's 20, and then you're like, five, like, we're going to go through a full TV deal, we're going to go through a full collective bargaining, we're just going to let it breathe, and then,
We'll see.
but, you know,
We will see. Anyways, let's get to my personal favorite conference. She said with joy, the Southeast
uh,
Conference.
are you, that's not, it's not your baby?
Y'all know how I feel about the SEC. If you don't,
Um,
you're
yeah.
about to find out.
It's funny. They knew that we were. They knew that we were recording because we legit just got. I just got a notification that basically said what we said, but basically the owner of the Celtics came out and was like, "It hasn't been approved yet." So whoever wrote the article was a
Lied.
little misleading.
Which in sports media is unfortunately a very, very big issue. That is part of the reason why I am aspiring to be in sports media because we have lost the true essence of truth telling. We have lost it. It has
Yeah,
been lost.
and it doesn't hurt to be like, they've agreed to a deal. They want to move it to
They
Boston
want exactly. Not
if it
it's
gets
going to
approved.
move.
Like,
Exactly. There's a difference between saying it could be moved and it's going to move.
yeah,
There's a difference. But that would require like real journalism. Anyway,
and SEC. So as you know, we are doing our previews. We are doing the SEC. Our If this is your first episode, go backwards. We have the, well, yes, welcome, and then go backwards. We have the Big 12 preview. We have the we have the ACC preview. We're doing the Big 10 next week, and the way we do our previews is, I think, a unique. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but as people who do
it's
not do
better. No,
this,
I'm playing.
as people who do not do this full time and to get paid for it, we are not going to talk about every single team. We're going to focus on the things that the casual college fans, that the regular college fans talk about. Let's be honest, unless you're like me, because I will listen to this preview. Unless you're like me, you don't care what Mississippi State's doing. Like you don't want me talking about Kentucky. Like, you just don't. Like, let's be honest. Like, next week you don't want to hear us talk about Northwestern. So
Yeah.
we keeping it straight to the point. Our previews, we do emerging storylines, top transfers, contenders, dark horse, critical matchups, and then because everything's about the playoffs, we predict the number and the playoff teams, and we predict the conference winner. The playoff piece culminates in another show that we're going to do where we're going to take our previews, because, you know, we like to stick to our word, and build a playoff bracket.
Period.
One thing I will tell you, DJ, as we get started on air for everyone to listen to, one thing you're going to have to consider with your bracket is, I think, if you put them at 4, either Notre Dame doesn't get in, or the ACC only has 1. Like, I was doing the math. If the Big Ten and the SEC both have 4, and then the ACC has 2, that's 10, and then you have to have 1 G5, 1 Big 12. So that's just something to think about. That's why my number is what it is, because I was trying to do the math, and it's basically, as you're doing this, before we say it out loud, you have to determine if you think Notre Dame's going to get in, because you may have to remove one of these teams.
Okay. That's why I
Joyce.
was looking at
But
everything because I was like, this doesn't make.
yeah, what I will say is, because this is our show, we can do whatever we want to. We cannot change our conference winners at all. But if you wanted to go back and say the ACC only gets 1, we could do that on that show. But you're gonna have to figure out what you want to do with Notre Dame.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, SEC preview, emerging storylines. Listen, I'm sorry, maybe it's me, but the SEC is boring. To be fair,
So bored.
to be fair, so is the Big Ten in this particular thing. Like, the ACC and the Big 12 had a lot of emerging storylines. There's not really a lot of emerging storylines in the Big Ten either. So, like, to be like, I was kind of stretching a little bit to try to get to these. But
There's
the
not
first
really.
one,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm like, it's the same old, same old. South
yeah.
SEC, oh my gosh, everybody's so good. Who's going to be gooder than the good ones?
Yeah, and especially because it's just like we are gonna do this in the season. Like I'm not frustrated enough to go on my rant about how the SEC is not as good as people think. And this is not to say that they're not good, but I was literally listening to a show, and they were like, "Oh my God, Oklahoma has the hardest schedule in the country," and then I was like, I looked at it. And I was like, I think Wisconsin's is harder. And then I listened to people, and they were like, "Oh, it's so hard because they have to play Ole Miss in Missouri." And I'm like, here you go, overhyping again. Like I'm not even saying. And listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that their schedule's easy. I'm just saying like when you look at, let's say, Oklahoma, and you look at Oklahoma and you look at Wisconsin's schedule, those two were comparing. The difference is how you feel about the middle of the conference, how you feel about, for example, Missouri versus Illinois or something like that. And they're like, they gotta play Missouri and Auburn, and I'm like, fucking Auburn.
Auburn.
We're saying this is, we're talking about this is a hard schedule. You're talking about Auburn, dog.
The same Auburn that. Never mind.
Yeah, and I'm actually like I'm gonna skip around because it was hilarious. I do have to read you the schedule very quickly,
Right.
because
It's Oklahoma's, right?
yes,
Okay.
because I was just like, hey man, y'all some lying motherfuckers. You do know that, right? Like y'all. Hold on, I wonder. Man, technology is great, but I don't think it's good enough for me to put both of the schedules up at the same time. That would be wonderful, but
If you're sharing your whole screen and you do split screen and won't do that,
I think it's gonna be weird on the video.
come on, sausage. We're showing you how to sausage.
Listen, and again, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be misquoted. Although if you misquote me, that means you listened. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Even if you yell at us, their schedule is not easy, but it is mildly overrated. And we'll go through it really quickly because why not? We can do the show in whatever order we want to, can't we?
Period. Y'all don't know what the show plan says.
Oh, actually, I probably could. Do you want me to try it? We're talking. Like, do you want me to try the split screen and see how bad it looks? See if it looks
I'll
good.
see how bad it looks.
I'm just worried, you know. One day we're gonna get paid for this, and we're gonna have a producer, and we can just text them, and they're gonna do this for us, and we don't have to talk about it out loud.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Is this not working? What?
Yeah, but you know, it doesn't matter because you all listen to the show. We're not perfect. So, okay.
I'm not perfect, and I'm never gonna try to be perfect.
Here we go.
So please.
We are going to compare the schedules and see what you all think. Tell me if I'm lying.
Ooh,
Oh, that's not bad.
it's not terrible.
That's
I mean,
fine.
it looks crazy to me. but
Okay.
because of me.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
this looks fantastic.
So, Wisconsin is on the right. Oklahoma is on the left. And let's go through it. Let's just talk about it. Let's just go one for one. First of all, Miami of Ohio won 11 games last year. Miami of Ohio won 11 games last year and won the MAC conference. So they're a harder team than both Illinois State and Temple. So that's a lot. That's off rip. We're wrong. I'm not going to pretend that I remember a lot about Middle Tennessee State, but I also think they're better than Illinois State and Temple.
I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure Temple's one of the Illinois State. I'm just gonna say it, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Middle Tennessee State is better than Illinois State and Temple. So right there, the non-con, and then we have Alabama versus Michigan. Which one do you think is harder?
You want me to be honest?
All right then. So just in the non-con alone, we're 3 games in non-con alone. Wisconsin's is better. Let's go. Okay, but the one thing is they both play Alabama and Michigan.
Okay.
So I will give them that. They both play Alabama and Michigan. So to go through the schedule, they play Kent State. I love my Kent. I do. I love them to death. But booty cheeks, trash, garbage, gross. So they play Auburn. You are not gonna tell me Auburn's good. Kent State. They play Texas. That's a tough game. They play South Carolina. Cool. That's a tough game.
Sure.
They play Ole Miss.
Sure.
I don't know if Ole Miss is a tough game this year because of how much they're replacing.
Yeah.
Tennessee is not a tough game this year. This number 19 that you see here is a lie.
That is because they are Tennessee.
They play Alabama. That is a very tough game. They play Missouri. And then they play LSU. That is a tough game. So what did we say? We said Texas,
Bama.
Alabama, LSU, and Michigan. We'll give them the 4. But Wisconsin also plays Michigan, and they also play Alabama. So we've already said,
Ohio State and
yeah,
Oregon.
yeah, and Iowa. Like, so here's the thing, right? So they already play the 2. They play Ohio
And
State
Indiana.
and Oregon and Indiana and Illinois. So ultimately, this comes down to like, do you think Illinois is better than Indiana? Well, they're ranked higher, and they beat them last year. Do you think Indiana is better than Ole Miss and Tennessee? To be fair, they're ranked higher, and they made the playoff last year. The other 2 didn't.
Did not.
Ole Miss, we'll see, but I don't think they're going to be good because they lost a lot, and Tennessee's just not going to be good this year. And then because people don't pay attention to the Big Ten, they don't consider teams like Washington, who's going
I
to be a
was
tough
just about to say
team,
Washington is
and
not.
Iowa, who's always a tough team.
Yes.
So objectively, especially when you consider non-con, Wisconsin's schedule is harder. I'm not saying Oklahoma has an easy schedule, but we don't have to lie and be like, Oklahoma has the hardest conference schedule. Like, you can only say they have the hardest schedule in the country if you're overhyping the SEC. Because even on rankings alone, just pure preseason rankings, it's not true.
It's not. Yeah.
Wisconsin plays the higher ranked teams.
Well, it's because it's chock full of all these SEC teams. So they're like immediately like, it's hard. Okay.
So,
Anyways, child.
this is the SEC preview. This is not our time to shit on the SEC. I'm sorry.
will.
I just had to say it. So,
I will.
emerging
I'm
storylines.
actually already doing it.
Hey, what can you do?
Right.
Emerging storylines. The first one that I have is new QBs on contenders. Georgia has a new quarterback. His
God bless
name
them.
is a name. His name is Gunnar Stockton because
That's
Carson
okay.
Beck, who was not good, transferred to Miami. Ole Miss has a new quarterback. His name is also a name. I believe his name is Austin Simmons, who, listen, never heard of him before.
I never heard of this man.
He was, he's been there for 2 years. He was pretty highly ranked, but it's just the thing where like they recruited a quarterback, and they're
Not
hoping that he's
improving.
good,
Yeah, exactly.
which is what happens, right? Like, I mean, that's what Ohio State's doing. That's what Bama's doing. Like, I'm not going to talk trash about the kid. The point is that he's new.
We don't know who he is.
Texas has a new quarterback. He does have a name, but he is a new starter,
We know who he is.
and Arch Manning.
Right.
And Alabama also has a new quarterback.
Because
Their
they find
quarterback
that running back
is,
room, stay in the mailroom.
yes, their quarterback is supposed to be Ty Simpson. Which, breaking news, Ty Simpson is white.
Huh?
Yep,
With an name?
I didn't right.
Like,
This
okay, your daddy might be black, but
Listen,
okay.
I was talking to my friend who's a Bama fan, and she mentioned him being white, and I was like, wait, who is Alabama's quarterback going to be? She was like, Ty Simpson. I said, Ty
But the thing
Simpson
is, that's
is
not a
white.
guarantee. At least based on what I've been reading, that's not a guarantee. Like, there's actually going to be like a level
Yeah.
of earning the spot specifically at Bama because of how stacked the room is. But
Yes.
technically, if you're talking about like seniority, Ty Simpson
And what has been told to us, like the rumors and the things that people who are around have been saying, is that he has the lead, and it is expected that he is the starter. He could lose the job in fall camp. That happens.
Yeah.
But like as of today, the expectation is that Ty for Tyler, not Tyrone Simpson.
I see. I wasn't going to say Tyler. I was going to say Tyson. I was thinking it was short for Tyson. But yes, he is 6'6", which I'm like having a hard time like computing a 6'6" quarterback. I don't know. Like it's not computing. So it's gonna be interesting.
It happens.
I know that's what. But you know, like I can't even like Tom Brady. Not that tall, is he? He's like 6'4", right?
No, there are 6'6" quarterbacks. I'm trying to think of who they
I'm like,
are.
who's like a major?
Is Josh
quarterback
Allen
over
6'6"?
6'5"? Is he? Well,
I think Josh Allen might be 6'5", but like
okay.
exactly. I don't think
A
he's
good.
6'6".
I need a. Y'all need to tell me. I'm genuinely curious. I need an elite quarterback that is over the height of 6'5". Yeah, Josh Allen.
I think a lot of them actually stop at 6'5". Okay, because we have this ability, I just want to I just
I'm
have to.
crying. Oh,
That's not a tie.
that's
That's not a
a
tie.
Jake.
That is not a tie.
That's a Jake.
So I'm. It doesn't even look like Tyler. Like that. That's not a tie.
You know,
That's a
this is why
John
we name.
Simpson the
This is
third.
why we name the baby. We should name the babies after their faces develop, because you might not really be the name that you were given, but you were all scrunched up
Yeah.
and fresh, and so we had to name you.
I
Anyways,
I went to high school with someone that looked like this. His name was John. This is John
everybody has
Simpson
gone
the
to high school
third.
with somebody that looks like
You
that.
know what I'm saying? This is. You can keep the last name. We'll let you have the last name, but it is 100. This is a. I don't care. This is John Simpson the third.
I'm sure all
Maybe
of
Junior. We'll give him Junior maybe,
fine.
but like Ty.
I'm sure all of the diehard racist Bama fans are so excited that they're getting their All-American white boys a quarterback again. They've been in the trenches for the last couple of years with these black quarterbacks.
Hey, they
They've been in
said
the
no.
trenches.
There's no more lank, no more letter naysayer. No, we not. We gotta do none of that. It's a good old. I don't know. I'm just assuming good old Southern
On
Baptist
blue belt,
tie.
blue-blooded, white, young, with a strong handshake or whatever you be
So,
saying.
yeah, a
Anyway,
strong handshake and a Southern belle for a girlfriend.
oh,
He's
she's
6'6".
blonde.
His
She's
girlfriend is
blonde and short.
absolutely 5'3".
Oh,
His girlfriend's absolutely 5'3", Southern belle.
she wears sequins like on
Yeah.
occasion. Everything she has is monograms. Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Love that.
Anyways,
Love
but he
that.
gets NIL money probably a little bit, so she got a little bit going on.
A little something, a little something, something. So
The point is, a couple of
for
these teams have new quarterbacks.
and three of them are teams that most people expect to make the playoffs.
Yes.
One of them, maybe two of them, are teams that people think are national title contenders,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it is a very interesting thing, especially because this is going to go smoothly right into our next storyline. There are other teams who don't have the cachet, but who potentially have better quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks are, depending on who you ask, Heisman contenders. You have Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. You have Lenore Sellers at South Carolina. Ryan Williams is not a quarterback, but if you can't talk about Heisman
He's a
contenders
Heisman contender, though.
and the SEC and not mention Ryan Williams, but so you have these four teams with the cachet, the blue buds, all the blue chips, all the players, all the hype, all the things, but they're all breaking in new quarterbacks. And realistically, it's unlikely that all of them play well, that like all of them hit. So then you're playing this game of like, what does Georgia look like if their quarterback's not good? What does
Well,
Texas
we
look
saw that
like?
last year.
True. What does? But what if
12
he's
picks in
worse?
6
But what
games,
if he's
like,
worse?
I
Like 12
can't
picks in 6
imagine.
games is crazy.
I can't. That's what it is. It's 12 picks in 6 games. I can't imagine that it gets worse than 12 picks in 6 games. And that's no shade to Carson Beck. I do think he might be a
All
little bit
shade.
better. He might be a little bit better in Mario Batali. Mario Batali.
You just making up stuff now.
That's a chef.
Okay.
He used to
So,
be an Iron Chef. He fell
okay.
from grace for harming women like most men do. But
Shame.
what's his name? Mario Badescu. What is his name?
Cristobal. Mario Cristobal.
Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, that how it's just unlikely, right? That in my opinion, that all of it works out. Some people are going to take the easy way out and just say, "Ole Miss is the one that doesn't work out." But like, Ole Miss has a great track record with Lane Kiffin, so you don't know. And then you do like, can a Garrett Nussmeier sneak up on Georgia, Alabama, something like that because he's
Yeah.
better. He has another year in the offense, etc. Can Lenore Sellers, who people are talking about as a first round pick, someone who can run and throw that they're very excited, can he lead South Carolina past them, etc. So, and then that sort of whatever it is, transition into our last storyline, which is hot seat coaches.
Yes, and some of them are about ready. They are in firing territory. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
They
and the interesting thing is, it's just that the funny thing about these three coaches who are gonna say, all of them are. I think their seat is even hotter because of the hype surrounding them.
Yeah.
Like Florida, Billy Napier. Let's talk about Florida for a second. Everyone thought that Florida was going to fire Billy Napier last year.
So much
Then
so that there was a statement released in the middle of the season saying, "We're not firing him." That's the
Yes.
game, right? Yeah.
yes, then his quarterback DJ Lagway comes back from being injured as a freshman, and they won consecutive games. They beat LSU, they beat Ole Miss, they destroyed their rival Florida State, and then they beat Tulane. They ended up on a 4-game winning streak, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Florida, Florida, Florida!" Because the coach wasn't fired because of DJ Lagway. They then started recruiting better, which again they got some transfers and things, and so now it's like Florida has these high expectations. But the thing is, you don't get to go from almost fired to safe. You have to have a good year this year. How good of a year is that? Not exactly sure, but they do still have a tough schedule. They do still have to play LSU. They have to play Miami. They play Texas. They play Texas A&M. They play Georgia. They play so. They need to win maybe 9 games. Like, is 8-4 enough? I don't know. What happens if they start out 2-3 with losses to LSU, Miami, and Texas? Do they just fire him? Like then, so I don't like you don't know. So he's on the hot seat, but again, partially because there's a lot of hype around the team now. After he saved his job, and it seems like Lenore Sellers is going to be a star. The next coach, Brett Venables at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, he's had 2 losing seasons under them. His first season, he won 6 games. He went 6-7, and then the year 2023, he won 10 games. And then last year, he went 6-7 again. So they're not. Oklahoma's not going for that. Like, they're not going for that. You can't. You go 6-7 again.
Right here.
Done. So he did a major sort of portal haul. He fired his offensive coordinator. He brought in 29-year-old Ben Arbuckle, who was the coordinator at Washington State and Western Kentucky. At Western Kentucky, he got Bailey Zappi drafted because Bailey Zappi threw for 5,967 yards and 62 touchdowns.
Hello.
He then got Cam Ward drafted, basically, because he revitalized Cam Ward's career. Cam Ward threw for 3,700 yards and 25 touchdowns, which got him the ability to transfer to Miami, which got him to the first-round pick.
Correct.
Then last year, after Cam Ward had left, he had John Mateer, who is probably not going to be like a super high draft pick, but like John Mateer had a good year for him. John Mateer last year, 3,100 yards, 29 passing touchdowns, 826 rushing yards, and 15 rushing touchdowns. So he in this offense, John Mateer contributed to 44 total touchdowns and essentially 39, almost 4,000 total yards. They're bringing that to Oklahoma.
I was about to say he came
Quarterback and coach, like
they came as a package. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that, which is, stealing things from our next segment, but it is important, they also bring Jaden Ott, who's a really good running back from Cal. So they're also in a place where, like, he's the worst off of all of them because, like, you can't go 6-7 again,
No,
but
yeah.
you also have all of this hype because of John Mateer, because of the offense, because of the fact that this guy has essentially gone 3 for 3 with quarterbacks and all of this sort of stuff, and you brought the quarterback with him. So, boom. The last one is Brian Kelly at LSU, who has not necessarily been awful per se, but he's not meeting LSU standards.
Awful. Yeah.
Yeah, LSU. He went 10-4 in his first year and lost to Georgia in the conference championship game. But the problem with that is he had Jaden Daniels. No, was
Yes.
Jaden Daniels 2023? He had him both years. Did he have Jaden Daniels for 2 years?
2023. He had Jaden Daniels in 2023. Did he have him in 2022?
Either way,
Last
he had
year
a good team.
Joe Burrow. The year
Yeah.
before that, he had Jalen Miller.
No, he didn't get Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow he didn't have Joe. He came the year after Joe. I just can't remember if Jaden was there for 2 years or not.
Oh, Joe's not 2021. Oh, Joe's not 2021.
He is, but Brian Kelly was 2020. No, Joe is 2019, by the way. because that's the year they won the
Is he
championship.
that old?
Joe's been in the league for a while.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he's
goodness.
he's our age. Like yeah, like
Don't
Joe's
do that.
he's a little bit younger. He's a couple years younger, but like Joe, yeah, he he's not. Yeah, he won his national championship
Why
in
is my
2019 and was
my
the
like
number one pick in 2020. He's been
see
in the league for 4 years. Yeah,
anything that happens in them 2020s, early 2020s, the the COVID. Okay, so
yeah,
anyways,
the COVID.
okay.
But so like he has not been as bad as the others, right? He won 10 games twice in 2022 and 2023, but the problem is 2023 he for sure had Jaden Daniels, and that is the year that Jaden Daniels won the Heisman, but they lost games that they shouldn't have lost, and they didn't make the playoffs. And then last year,
Yeah.
they sort of continued that trend. They lost to Florida, which they shouldn't have lost to Florida. They lost to USC, which USC was awful in the Big Ten last year.
Oh my gosh.
And then and so they lose 4 games last year, and also so it's like, are they going to fire Brian Kelly? I don't know because I don't know his buyout, but like the other, like Oklahoma has had 6 wins, Florida's had 6 wins. Like they're at 9 and 10 wins, but that's not what LSU's looking for.
Once. Yeah.
And to continue the trend, when you have the hype, you have Garrett Nussmeier, who people are saying is in contention for the number one pick and a Heisman contender. You have this defense that is supposed to be coming back. You're getting Harold Perkins back. I mean, last year, Garrett Nussmeier in his first season as starter threw for 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns, 12 picks. If he gets better in his second year, like you typically do, he could do that again. Maybe a couple more yards, a couple more touchdowns, and less picks, right? That wins you some games. You have
Also, they added six of the top 50 transfers in the entire portal, and their 12 4 stars were the second most nationally. So they got the number three and number nine wide receiver, number two and number four interior offensive lineman, number two, number four, and number 14 defensive lineman, and number three and number four safeties. So if you go shopping like that,
right. Adding to the quarterback, adding
adding
to the
to that,
fact that you found a good running back last year. Now you have wide receivers. Their biggest problem the last couple of years was their secondary. You just talked about how they addressed that.
yeah,
And but then on top of that, they're returning 5 starters from their front seven,
yeah.
including Jacobian Guillory and Harold Perkins, who were lost last year due to injuries in September. And then you have 2 guys who are true freshmen who lock down your defensive tackles, and Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Barrow
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about
starting back,
power.
and then you have the transfers. So this is one of those things where like if you go 8-4, 9-3, are they going to keep you?
That's
And
the
it's
point.
possible that they will because they have a tough schedule. They play Clemson, they play Texas, they play Alabama, they play Oklahoma. Like it's not the
They play
toughest schedule, but
Florida. They
like
play A&M.
there are teams that they could lose to that he's shown his ability to lose to. But like, I
And I'm gonna
do
say
they?
Vanderbilt too, because we should be concerned about Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's like if they don't make a playoff, what do they do with Brian Kelly? Like, how much longer does he get? So I would say like the seat is hotter on Napier and Venables, but LSU has fired coaches who's won a national championship.
Oh
He's
yeah.
gonna go 4 seasons without even making the playoffs.
No. And
I
them
bet you.
coaches, the amount of money that that collective has, they can buy them out.
Yeah. And my thing is, I don't know if he's going to go back south, but he did coach in the SEC before. If Penn State doesn't win a national championship and you don't make the playoffs, why wouldn't you call James Franklin and say, you got close? You can't do it here.
Do it.
Everyone does it here. Everyone does it here. We all do it, except Brian Kelly, which is why he got fired. Their last 3 coaches have all won a national championship. You telling me he's not going to pick up the call? They're gonna say, "Hey, you had your best stretch. You had your best team you've ever had, and you didn't win a natty. All of them players are gone. How does Baton Rouge sound? I would make the call. I would make the call personally. Maybe there's some other coaches, but like if, USC too, honestly. Like if they have another bet, but we're not talking about the Big Ten. Like I'm calling James Franklin. If he doesn't win a natty, I'm calling it and I'm saying, hey, you sure you like them mountains? You sure you like that cold? Your team's gonna be worse. You couldn't do it. Come be with the big ballers. Come be with the boss.
Huh?
Like stop playing. Everybody wins
Doesn't
here.
James Franklin have like a particular interest in winning a championship at Penn State specifically?
But when you've been there for a decade and you haven't done it, you start to listen. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Because like I feel like if he doesn't, because the and coaches don't always think like this, or they won't admit to thinking like this. If he doesn't do it this year, when's he gonna do it?
Yeah, that's also true.
Where like the way LSU is situated, he could go to LSU
Win
and
it.
win
Right.
literally next year. Like he
Yeah.
could win it the next year. Like if Penn State doesn't win it this year, they're not winning it the year after that. They're losing too
Yeah.
many people.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to James Franklin, who's a great coach, his roster is not built like at Ohio State,
Yeah.
Bama, Georgia, where you can confidently say they can lose 14 draft picks, which is what they're about to do, right? And still be great the next year. Like there's a very real chance that they turn into an 8-4 team, even if it's only for 1 year. Sorry, this is too much on the Big Ten and the
It
SEC
is.
show, but if Brian Kelly doesn't do it, I'm calling James, especially if James doesn't win the 90, right?
So you
And
feel
they
like Brian Kelly is in a position where it's like natty or bust. Like he's getting fired if they don't get a natty, or we feel like
playoff.
he's getting fired if they don't make it to the play. Okay.
It's hard to if anywhere. It's hard to fire someone for not making the natty. They have to make the playoff.
Playoffs. Yeah.
If they do not make the playoff, I think
He's
you
out of
know.
it.
So
They gave him 3 years. They gave him a good go.
yeah, this would be
Get
his
up out of
fourth
here.
year. Yeah, it's like
Get
hey,
up out of
like
here.
what do
They
you
gave him a
like?
good go.
And with the 12-team playoff too, like I think that's something we're gonna have to
Yeah,
get
like you should at
adjusted
least keep
to.
that enlarged
It's
bid.
one thing with the four. If you go 2 years at a big school and you don't make the 12-team playoff, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Yeah. See
Thank you
you
so
later.
much.
It
Because I do
take this
think
buyout.
I do think it depends on it's very situational, but especially when you're talking about the SEC, not making being on the upper echelon of the SEC, being in the top five, top six of the SEC, and you're not finding a way to get an at-large bid
And as an
in the
Ohio,
12-team playoff.
yeah, and LSU, like Ohio State, has won three natties in the last since 2000.
Hmm.
And I could very much see them, especially in the 12-team playoff, getting itchy where they're like, we haven't won it in 6 years. And it doesn't seem like you can do it. So it's time to move on.
Moving on, because realistically, your chances of getting in should be higher,
Right.
right? Like especially as a SC again upper level SEC team, your
Yeah.
chances of getting in should be. I mean, not that it's guaranteed, but we also know how the committee treats the SEC. So it's like
Yeah.
if you're 11-1, if you're 10-2, if you're up there, you're making it in.
Right. And if
Like
you didn't make it in, that means you lost three
that means you
games.
lost 3 games because
Four
that was the
games. Like,
conversation about Bama and Ole Miss and South
yes.
Carolina and all of them last year was you have 3 losses. Don't nobody want to see no 3-loss team in the playoffs. So you gotta win. You gotta win 10,
Yeah.
and you're gonna
100%.
and even still, depending, he might still get fired. Even if they make it to the playoffs, he might still get fired.
Yeah, I mean, if they do, I don't think he will unless they start making them calls. But like if they go and they get blown out first round,
That's what
something
I'm
like
saying.
that. Like if he pulls a Tennessee,
Yeah,
goes and gets blown out first round, I
that's
don't know.
correct.
That may not be enough. Like you know what I'm
That's
saying?
correct.
Like if they especially if they get in at like the 11th seed, so they barely got in, and then they get blown out by like a Penn State and Ohio State and Oregon. So
Thank
I
you
don't
for
know.
being Brian Kelly. Please go be somebody's coordinator somewhere.
Yeah.
Um,
So contenders, we've talked about a lot of these teams just by the nature of our emerging storylines and Heisman contenders, but the contenders that we have for this league, three of them are not going to surprise you: Bama, Georgia, Texas,
what?
and then the last one is LSU. I do legitimately think LSU is going to have a good team this year, which makes it even more imperative that everything that we just said, we don't need to repeat ourselves. So.
Yeah.
Who is there any? So I'm trying to think if there's anything else we don't.
I'm just like the SEC is boring. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like it just is what it is because it's the same. It has been for me, and y'all gotta forgive me, okay? Because I'm going from casual fan to more invested fan this year. So I still consider myself somewhere on the spectrum between casual and invested. But prior to me actually watching the games for real, everybody always knew that the top teams usually are the Bamas, the Georgias, the LSUs, the Texases. I mean, Texas
Well,
has
yeah,
always been at the top, but Texas has always kind of been, at least being Texan, has always been hailed as like a good football school, even though
yep,
they weren't always winning. So for me, as a casual fan, I was always bored with the SEC because I'm like, it's the same old people. And then I lived through the Nick Saban Bama era, so it's just like and then the media is so goofy behind them that it's just like it's just not as fun as like
Hmm.
Big 12, where it's like, oh my gosh, it really is any given team. Because realistically, and this is my genuine opinion, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but like Texas is going to win the conference. Like we don't even need to like do this. Texas is going to win the conference. I don't think Bama is there yet. We'll see. And the only reason why I feel that way about Bama is because the inconsistency at QB, like that is just something they're gonna have to work out. And yes, it's gonna be Ty or whoever to start off, but he might stink it up. Who knows? And then now we have to go through the rotation of the three, right? So
Yeah.
Ryan Williams, hopefully having a good season will kind of get them where they need to get to, even if the quarterback is or isn't good. But it's like I don't trust Bama right now. I don't really trust the situation with LSU right now. Maybe it'll turn out well, but we've talked about the whole mass influx of transfers things not always being a good thing. And then, you know, when it comes to Georgia, back to the quarterback thing. So I'm just kind of like Texas is the only
Yeah.
team right now.
Honestly.
You know,
Yeah, honestly, I was literally like, as I was listening to you talk, I was literally just like, take your word for word Bama argument and put that on Georgia, and that's me. And
that's
it's and it's largely because for me, even if Ty Simpson is bad, I think Bama has a backup.
yeah.
I don't think Georgia has a
I don't
backup.
think Georgia has one either.
Like if he's bad, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
just what you got.
So
That is just what you. But my thing is also, and the reason why I don't have the same strength of argument for Georgia as I do for Bama is that Carson Beck was booty to me. So I'm like, surely you can only go up from there. Not saying Carson was like horrible. Like obviously Georgia was winning games, but also there were
barely.
times where it did seem like it was Carson Beck's sole purpose to make sure that they lost. So
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'm like.
I think, and this is gonna like a sneak peek of where we're gonna end the show. I trust Bama's roster this year only
This year,
over Georgia's,
agreed.
and so because of that, I think they're. I'm just gonna tell you, I think their roles are gonna be reversed. Like I think
Alabama.
no, from last year. Also, what you're saying, but from
Oh, okay.
last year.
Yes.
I think their roles are going to be reversed. I do agree with you that Texas is probably going to win it all. I do not think that Arch Manning is God's gift to Earth,
I need
but
everybody to calm down. They are smoking the Arch Manning pack and living in the clouds in a way that is so goofy. I don't think I've seen this much goofiness behind a particular athlete besides the way that people act about Caitlin Clark. I'm not even trying to be funny. They are truly acting like he is God's gift to football. And I need everybody to calm down. Like, is he
and
good? He's fine. Like, yes,
he's
he
fine, fine,
played well in Quinn Ewers' absence. No one's saying Arch Manning came in
but
and
he
sucked
wasn't
up.
special.
He played well, but he played. I know that's why it's gonna sound like kind of like I'm a hater, but I'm like he played the way that you would expect an SEC quarterback to a young SEC quarterback to play.
Yeah,
He wasn't particularly prolific, but he also wasn't terrible. He just came out and he did what he was expected
yeah.
to do, and he did it well. And maybe that was shocking for people because he did well, I guess, but like it's also not like, oh my God, he's the best quarterback. Give him the Heisman now. Like
Which is what's
we
happening.
gotta stop. We have got to stop, and that's not to. And I always say it from a perspective of the athlete. That's not fair to him.
And he's been telling people that. Like
Like,
if you listen to him talk, which here's the thing. He is a Manning,
yeah,
and the one thing I will say about the Mannings is it is earned. Like the Mannings is not the family where they
they don't
get to
want handouts.
like it's so
Well,
weird for them to but the thing is they don't. In a certain and on the foot okay, let me
from the
say
football
specifically
standpoint, from the
on the
talent and the
football
football,
field they do not want handouts.
yes,
If they did, he wouldn't have went to Texas. If
yeah,
they
but it's
did,
also
he
on his
wouldn't have
scholarship.
sat behind Quinn Ewers for two
Yeah,
years. And everyone is basically saying if you know the Mannings, he's going to be there for 2 years.
yeah,
Like he's not leaving this year. I don't even think they expect him
to
to
leave.
go 4,500 yards, 35
Yeah,
touchdown Heisman contender. I think they all know what he is, which is a good but not great quarterback.
a quarterback
Does he have a
in
chance to be
development.
great?
Yes,
Maybe,
he's in
maybe.
development. He's
But the
young.
way people talk about him is that he's gonna like they talk about him like he's gonna be, for example, Trevor Lawrence, who was a quarterback who came out as a freshman and was immediately the second or third best quarterback in the country. Like, immediately, right? Like, CJ Stroud, as a sophomore, was immediately one of the best quarterbacks in the country. That is the level that we're talking about, right? And so I like for people to be specific, and they're almost never. If we talk about Dylan Raiola, who had a average, regular freshman, that like he had the year you expect of a freshman quarterback with his level. And again, I understand that Archer's not a freshman, so that helps. He has 2 years in the system. If we talk about Dylan Raiola, and then we talk about the Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, immediate Heisman contender in their first year, right? Where's he at? In my opinion, he's almost directly in the middle, which is he's good enough that you're not gonna be like he's ass. He needs to be replaced. He's not gonna lose his job. But I don't think he's an immediate. He has to go to the league, and I don't think he's an immediate Heisman contender. I don't think he's gonna be a Heisman finalist. Like
I think they're gonna talk about him in Heisman conversations for the entire year.
Yes, but his numbers aren't going to match
the
it.
votes come out. He's not. But also, we could be wrong. Like I
Yeah.
want to be very clear. We could be wrong. He could actually be as prolific as they're saying, and maybe me and you just haven't seen enough of it to say that. Like maybe we come out first few games and it's like, oh my gosh, this kid has got it, and we just don't feel like that yet.
Yeah.
But for me,
That's all possible.
I'm just not the biggest fan of like. It's the same kind of issue I'm having with the WNBA right now. Like they have already decided that Nafisa Collier is the MVP, and that's fine. But I hate when the media predetermines the winner of an award because it affects the narrative. It affects how you talk about them. It affects how other people react to them. It affects the entire ecosystem. So when you are pre-selecting this person as the MVP of the league, then that influences the votes of those around, and then it also overshadows the people who are also having great seasons, such as Alyssa Thomas, Alicia Gray, those people who deserve votes and who deserve to be propped up and spoken about in the same way. But because we've already decided that it's Nafisa Collier, I'm going somewhere with this, then it's that. And I don't want that to happen to Arch, where it's like we've already decided that he's the Heisman winner, and so now he has this undue pressure, not only of playing as the Texas quarterback, which to me is a lot of pressure in and of itself.
Yes.
But now you have this undue pressure of holding up the Manning name, which he will always have. Now he has it as the Texas quarterback, and now you have to live up to this. You got to win the Heisman your first year starter. It's just kind of fucked up. It's just too much.
I agree, and that's one of the, I think that's one of the things that like why we're good on this show, because we have a very similar pain on that, and like viewing like some it's. And I always try to clarify, because when you say things, it sounds like you're hating, but it's like this is genuinely in concern for the athlete. Like this is not great for them. And so we'll see. Ultimately, we'll see. But I do think, and the other thing with Texas, because this is the time to say it, I do think they're going to be good. I think I predicted that they're probably going to make the national championship. I don't think I have them winning it, but I just wish. And
there.
you know, Ohio State fan, I get it. I wish that the conversation about Texas was the same as the conversation about Ohio State, and that they're probably going to reload, but we don't know because they have an unknown quarterback. They lost, like everyone's like, oh my God, Ohio State lost everyone on their offensive defensive line, and that's not true. Ohio State is returning 4 starters on their offensive line, and nobody knows it. Like literally, I was listening to a national podcast, and someone asked a question about Ohio State on the offensive defensive line, and even the people on the national podcast didn't say, well, I think their offensive line is going to be good because they're returning 4 starters. They're returning left guard, center, right guard, and their backup guard who ended up playing because of all the injuries, who's going to be the starting tackle, and then they brought in one of the best transfers for left tackle. Ohio State lost everyone. They lost a lot of people on their defensive line. That is a very fair thing. But in the comparison, Texas lost, I believe, they lost 4 starters on their offensive line. And everyone's just like, they're going to be great. They lost they lost 3 starters on their defensive line. The one player that they have back is really, really good, Colin Simmons. But they lost so much depth on their defensive line, they had to bring in a bunch of transfers. And we talk about the transfer thing all the time. They brought in really good transfers, but they brought in more. They brought in 3 4-star transfers: Travis Shaw from UNC, Murad Watson from Syracuse, and Cole Brevard from Purdue. And so the thing is, like, are they going to be good? Yes. Are they going to reload? Probably. Have they been great at recruiting? Yes. But it's a very similar conversation,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
can't.
just
Yeah.
disingenuous. Like, let's be honest, this we're an honest show. Ohio State lost some key people, but so did Texas. Texas lost their starting
They
quarterback.
lost Matthew
Texas
Golden.
lost their wide receiver. They lost.
They
They're
lost
gonna be
on the interior. They lost a little
they
bit on the
lost
secondary.
four. Yeah, they lost three defensive linemen. They lost four offensive linemen. They lost their all SEC safety and Andrew Makoba. And they lost the Jim Thorpe Award, which is the award that goes to the best corner, and Jahdae Barron. So they lost their
Yeah.
best safety, their best corner, three defensive linemen, four offensive linemen, including one or two, but especially one who was a high first round pick, their quarterback, and their best wide receiver, and we're just like
That's
nothing.
still amazing. And the thing about Texas is like Texas was one of the best defensive teams last year. So when you're losing that type of manpower on defense, hello. Like I agree. The question about Texas, and I know this is not technically a Big Ten show yet. We haven't gotten to the Big Ten, but Texas and Ohio, your path back to the Natty is going to be based on who has the most depth, or who has the most depth versus also who did the best recruiting technically in the transfer portal. Because y'all
Yeah.
lost similar levels, but yes, like you said, the conversations are not as genuine, and I do believe the conversations are disingenuous because of Arch. I do believe
And
they're
but
putting
even
so
that would
much
be
on
yeah.
like that they have Arch Manning, so they're going to be there for him
Agreed.
now.
But even for me, if they were just like, Texas lost all of these things, but we believe in Arch, if they just said that, then that's like, cool. But the thing is, it's just like, when it comes to Texas, they just sort of ignore all the things they lost. But then when it comes to Ohio State, and it's not only Ohio State, but just these two teams that are in this area, when it comes to Ohio State, they're listing everything, and some of it's wrong. Like I'm telling you, I don't think anyone in the national media knows that Ohio State's returning four starters on their offensive line. Like they're just grouping it together. We lost our almost our
I
entire
want
defensive
you guys
line.
to know that Ohio State is returning four starters
But
on the offensive
because
line.
but the thing is, when those are the things that matter,
It's going
right?
to be an
When you
emergency
have
running line on our defensive end.
when you have a young quarterback, the O line matters.
Oh, it
And you
matters.
have
You're
one
right.
team that's returning four, and you have one that's losing four, and it's like, can we just have a real conversation? And I say all this to say, because someone's going to listen to this and ignore me. I do think Texas is going to be good. I do think they're going to at least make the Final Four, but I just think that a there's a for I got into this thing last year and used to make fun of me because I would say disingenuous all the time, and it's coming back. It's we're just having a disingenuous conversation about
Disingenuous Jack.
Texas and then some of these sort of things. And since this is our show, I just feel like we should be honest about these
Yes.
teams, even if we have decent expectations. Because my thing is, the reason why I think Texas and Ohio State are going to be good this year is because everyone else also has new quarterbacks. If
Yeah.
I know we can't go backwards, but if this Texas team and this Ohio State team played last year, I think one of them misses the playoffs. I think that the
Fully?
teams are good. Yes, I think the teams are good this year because Georgia has a new quarterback. Bama has a new quarterback. Oregon has a new quarterback. Like all of these teams are sort of in the same sort of space, so that allows you to do it with the young teams. But like if Oregon had their fifth year starter and Georgia still had Carson Beck, who's whatever, but he was a multi-year starter, and Bama is still like if they had Bama lost a bunch of people in the draft, if they had the defense and things that they were supposed to have, and some of these things, like I think some of that changes. But both of them, this is the best year for them to be bringing in new starters because it's happening everywhere. All the old people are like everyone's playing their young defensive ends.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing their young safeties.
There's not a lot of
All the best
veteran
teams have,
teams.
yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of veteran teams. This
And so I think they're both going to be good, but it's by nature of everything else going on this year. And I just, this is our show. We can say that because nobody else is
Ohio
saying
State is returning four offensive linemen,
yes.
starting offensive linemen. You guys,
Yeah.
it is happening. Just
And Texas is returning two of the best defensive players in the country. Like, in
well,
case you thought I was being negative on Texas because you don't listen, Texas is going to be good. Like I'm going to say it again, Texas is going to be good. But like let's talk about it here.
Let's be real. Let's be
Yeah,
real. I'm
that's
just
it.
saying, my heart personally goes out to Arch Manning because I can't imagine the amount of pressure that he feels, and I hope that he's able to come out and play with some level of freedom, so that way we can get a full scope of who he is and
Yes.
understand the type of quarterback that he is. Because also, I have a very strong feeling that a lot of undue and unnecessary comparisons to Peyton and Eli will also be happening.
Which should not.
And it's just so unfortunate to watch. Like, I already see it happening, and it's just so unfortunate to watch. And this is one of the
If
harsh
he-
things about being a legacy kid or a whatever is that's just going to happen. And I hate that for him, but I hope that he's able to come out and have his own identity and
Yeah.
really be able to enjoy who he is outside of the fact that he's a Manning and all this other stuff, because that's a tough crown to bear as a
Yeah.
20-year-old or 21-year-old.
I mean, the Manning name is so huge that Eli Manning's going to be a Hall of Famer, and he doesn't have a Hall of Fame resume.
A career, correct. So
Like that. Like that's what the Manning name is. The Manning name is it is so heavy that they're going to be the second ever family to have two brothers in the Hall of Fame.
oh yes, because the first family,
Sharps.
Sharp family. Period.
Yes.
Too bad
And
Sharp is ruining his
the
brother's induction because he's out here creating generational wealth.
the
right with
and
him.
yeah,
Anyway.
and the third family is going to be the Watt family.
Oh yeah,
but
JJ
I don't-
Watt just signed. What is it? The biggest contract in the history of whatever position he plays.
TJ,
I don't
yeah.
know. TJ, not JJ. There we go. See,
Yeah.
it's too many Watts.
Is JJ in the Hall of Fame yet?
Not yet. I don't believe so.
I can't remember when he
Has
retired.
he even? No, he hasn't even been out long enough for that because he just.
That's what I'm saying. Like time is a flat circle. When the hell did JJ Watt retire? I don't
Last
know.
year, I believe.
No. It was more than that. But
Okay, 2 years ago.
I think it's 4. I think this is the 4th.
No, there's
No. This is the 3rd because he's not eligible next year. Because I saw the look of first year guys. I think he's eligible in 2027.
He's been retired for this long.
How long?
3 years.
Oh, so I was right. Yeah. He'll be eligible in 2027.
NFL Hall.
It's 5 years.
Eligibility. Is it 5?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I'm being honest with you. I actually don't know.
Oh no. This one I know for
He's retired
sure.
at least 5 consecutive seasons
Yeah.
and coaches only one. No mandatory waiting period for contributors, as in owners or executives. Whatever.
Yeah. So this is his 4th year,
Will be his 4th year
and so he'll be eligible in 2027.
in 2027. Yeah, that'll be
So
his
by
first year of
yeah,
eligibility. Yeah.
and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So like yeah. So
Gotta love
yeah,
it.
the
Anyway,
Watt brothers will be the third
the
family
next-
because
you don't think the Kelsey brothers will
there'll be 4, but they're still playing.
well,
Like I'm talking about the order. I'm talking
Oh,
about the
okay,
order
okay.
because yeah. So like
'Cause I'm like-
Sharps already happened. Eli's
like,
gonna be
oh, they still
next.
got one more year for
Yeah,
it.
like Eli's gonna be next because I think he's eligible next year, the year after that,
Yeah.
and then for the Watt family,
I think Eli's been eligible.
no, he's not. He hasn't come up yet.
What?
Either this was his first year or next year. I don't think he's come up yet.
Okay. I don't care.
So yeah, and then Manning's will be second, and then Watts will be third because I think
TJ wouldn't have been out yet though.
the Kelsey Watt thing depends on who retires first
Who
between
retires
TJ
first.
and Travis.
Yeah.
Because JJ's obviously going to get in before
Right.
Jason because he's at 5 and this is Jason's first year.
Yes.
But for the second one, it depends because I think both of like Travis is 100% first ballot. TJ's probably first ballot. So that one depends on who retires first. But those are the 4. It's going to be those 4 brothers. I don't know anyone else that has brothers in the league like that. So
I don't think
there may end up being a couple cousins or
Yeah.
things like that, but like
unless they count
the
boys
brothers,
that went the one that's in Oregon and the other one, I don't know their names, but the one that's
Bo
like,
Nix, they're not going to be
I
Hall
was
of
like,
Famers.
unless they count them, because they be trying to count them and talk about
They're
them.
adopted, but like
Which
they're
is
not like.
and they are not to dismiss
Yeah.
that family. I'm just saying.
But neither one of them is Hall of Famers, so I think it's
That's
Bo
not
Nix
my
and Tez
business.
Johnson.
That's not my
Yeah,
business. Anyways, so those are the main contenders: Bama, Georgia, the LSU, and Texas. We also have
Dark
our
horse.
dark horse contenders. I don't agree with these, but you wrote them. Texas.
Which
A&M,
one don't you agree
Florida,
with?
Oklahoma, all of them.
Okay.
Texas
Well,
A&M,
okay.
Florida,
Hold on.
Oklahoma.
Hold on. Hear me out. If you don't agree, that just means there's not a dark horse contender.
That's what I was saying. Like,
But I mean, you got to pick somebody. Like you
I
got to
that's what I'm
pick.
like,
You
I don't
know.
think there is one. I think the SEC is very cut and dry, but if we must.
Yeah,
If
and we
name
must.
some dark
I will-
horses, I guess this is fine.
Yeah, I will get through this very quickly. Okay. Florida, Florida is off the strength of
Oh my
they
god.
have three good running backs, and if DJ Lagway is good, there's a
They still
chance
have
that
Jason
he's
Dawson.
going to be something. They also they brought in a former freshman All American in J. Michael Sturviant, and they have two 5 stars who may contribute, and Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson, and on they also returned 4 offensive line starters. They re and yeah. So for them, it's essentially if their offense clicks, especially with the quarterback, and he's one of the better quarterbacks in the conference, that alone makes them a dark horse because they play LSU, they play Texas, they play Texas A&M, they play Georgia, and oh my God,
They play everybody.
are we sure Oklahoma has the hardest schedule? But the thing is, and also for me, the way I sort of view dark horse as well is like it's even if you don't make it, you could ruin
Someone
someone's,
else's season.
right? Like if
Yeah.
they beat LSU in week 3, LSU doesn't have as much air, right? If they beat Texas, like if they beat, like, you know what I mean, if they beat Georgia, right? So it's sort of
Yeah.
it's that sort of thing. Why I think of them. Oklahoma is just it's the offense. We just talked about it. One
Yeah.
quarterback had 5,900 yards and 62 touchdowns. The other quarterback had 3,700 yards and 25 touchdowns. And the third quarterback, who's going to be the one playing this year, had 3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, 826 rushing yards, and 15 touchdowns. If the offense works, they're a dark horse,
There's chance. Yeah.
especially because their head coach is a defensive guy, and while it hasn't always clicked, you do expect eventually for it to click. This is his third year. This is fourth year with them, and they brought in they returned 4 of their 5 defensive tackles. They brought in Marvin Jones, who's one of the best edges in the country. So for them, it's like you hope that they have a good defense because that's what their coach does. If the offense, which has been electric everywhere, doesn't mean it's going to work in the SEC, but if the offense, which has been electric everywhere, works, you also bring in Jaden Ott. That makes them a dark horse. Whether you believe it or not, that's what dark horse means. They also have a chance to sort of upset some people, which is, again, how I sort of view it. They play Texas, they play Alabama, they play LSU. Like, I'll just put it this way: if Alabama and or LSU doesn't make the playoffs, it's going to be because of Oklahoma or Florida. Like
Okay.
that's like one of them is like they're going to lose a game that they shouldn't, and
Okay.
so that's sort of why I put them on there. Texas A&M, I don't know. I don't know that I should have put Texas A&M on
I
here.
there.
The thing with Texas A&M, I'll tell you why I put them on there. They return all 5 of their offensive line plus 2 co-starters who like played because of injury. So they essentially returned 7 offensive linemen, and I really like their running back, Le'Veon Moss, which is a name. Like, talk about it. Like that
Le'Veon
is
Moss, that is the name of somebody who was going to play sports professionally. Like you weren't going to do nothing else, or
like come on,
at a
and
high
he's a
level.
running back. So I'm even if he's
Le'Veon Bell,
not, you name him
Le'Veon,
after Le'Veon Bell, and then
Le'Veon Bell
Moss.
is a
You throw
very
the
goofy man.
Yeah, you throw the Randy Moss, and it's just like he's very good. He got injured, but he was on pace for 1,000 yard season. He's really good. Like I'm a big fan of him. They brought in multiple. They brought in 2 top 13 wide receivers, and I don't remember if I like their quarterback Marcel Reed. He was a young guy who came in, but he's another guy that people believe have a lot of promise. And then on defense, similar to Oklahoma, their head coach is a defensive guy, and I'll just read this. When he was a coordinator, he was a coordinator at A&M at first. He went from 28th to 18th, 12th, and 7th. And then at Notre Dame, he took them from 28 to 11. And then at Duke, he took them from 68 to 28. So this is his second year. If you get the defense that you expect from Mike Elko, and then the offense works out, they return some linebackers. They return 8 starters on defense. Like, I think they're number one in the SEC and
Like returning.
returning. They return their entire secondary. That's why I put them there. Do I think they're gonna win it? No, but like we're talking dark horses, so that's how we got
Yeah.
there.
Shout out to the Dark Horses.
Critical matchups, and we just named some of these.
Oh yeah, Texas and Georgia, obviously. What would that be? A rematch of something?
They played twice last year, but it's also the rematch of the SEC championship
There
game.
we go. Rematch of the SEC championship. I was like, they did something important, girl.
Yep.
Listen, Bama and Georgia. I mean, that's just always a big one in the SEC, no matter what. It kind of
Yep.
doesn't matter how well they're both doing.
Especially last year, if you remember, Bama started out 28-0. Georgia came all the way back, and then Ryan Williams introduced himself by making a crazy circus catch, and Bama ended up winning the game.
Crazy, crazy times. Bama and LSU, same thing. Both of them sort of being in the same position for contending, so they could be knocking each other off. LSU and Florida, same thing. LSU and Texas A&M, same thing. Texas and
Yeah,
OU.
this is these ones are on here because these are games that LSU likes to lose,
Yes,
and if they lose, we're gonna
you're
point
out
to
of
these
there.
games as to why Brian Kelly got fired.
Yep. Texas OU Red River Showdown, obviously very, very big deal, especially if you are in the Texas or Oklahoma state area. I'm gonna try to get my ass there this year. It was too much going on last year. I couldn't make it, but I'm trying to get myself over there this year because it is just a good old time, and it's even more fun because both teams are in the SEC now. Um, and then Texas and Texas A&M, same thing as a native Texan. This is a matchup that we have been very much wanting to happen more consistently. Last year when they played, it was the first time they played each other in 10 years. So we've been starving, but also at the same time, Texas A&M being that dark horse sort of vibe as well. But I mean, it's a big deal culturally. So, uh, yeah. Now, playoff participants, which is a new
Yeah,
thing that we have added because there's 11 people that get in the playoffs now.
I'm back and forth on mine
I'm changing my
because
mind too.
I'm back and forth on mine because I'm trying to figure out if I think one of these teams gets in over the ACC team. But what I'm doing is I've already said it. I gave a sneak preview. I think Bama and Georgia flip, and that Georgia ends up with 3 losses because the quarterback doesn't hit and they miss it.
Not the quarterback.
If Georgia has two, if all these teams are 10-2, then that ACC team is not getting in. But especially with we saw it last year, and I don't believe that last year was a fluke, and that there's going to be some surprising losses that you don't expect, and that these teams are more even, and that there's going to be this sort of glut of 9-3 teams again, especially because they don't play that ninth conference game, so you miss another sort of loss that kind of separates the middle.
That's
So I have three.
yeah.
I have Texas, Bama, LSU. I think Georgia's going to be a good team, but if you remember last year, Georgia almost lost multiple games. They should have lost to Georgia Tech. I don't think the quarterback is better, and I know that they're going to keep building, and they always do. But they did lose a lot of people on defense. I'm not sure that they're going to have to. It's just I with their schedule and some of the things going on there, but largely focused on the quarterback. I think that they could lose 3 games. Just to go through their schedule very quickly, they play at Tennessee, who they should beat, but it's the SEC. Vanderbilt beat some teams. They play Alabama and Texas. I believe in those 2 teams, so that's 2 losses there. Then they also play Ole Miss, Florida, and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech almost beat them last year. If you don't have, this is the last game of the season, so maybe he's sort of in it at this point. But if you have a young quarterback and you can ball control them, that's a way for Georgia Tech to win that game. Georgia Tech's not going to be a better team, but if maybe they do what they did last year and with a more inexperienced quarterback, they lose. If Florida's offense is humming, like I just think that there's a chance that maybe they if they lose the 2 games you sort of expect, Alabama and Texas, I just think that there's a chance that they do what Alabama did and they lose to a team that they shouldn't have lost because their quarterback is not good, which Alabama's quarterbacks last year was not good. So 3, Texas, Bama, LSU, and this is gonna get clipped and people are gonna make fun of me and whatever. You're muted. You're muted.
You're right. I am. Hate that for me. Okay, I said I agree. Texas, Bama, LSU, but and maybe I'm just a little high on Georgia. I don't know, but I'm just like I also feel like Georgia might sneak their way in as well. Um,
Yeah. I mean, if we're being honest, it's more likely that Georgia gets in and one of LSU or Bama doesn't get in.
doesn't.
But,
Yeah,
I didn't want to just do the typical,
yeah, That's why I'm saying all four, because I'm like, if they all end up 10-2,
Yeah.
then we're having a different conversation. And I think all of them are capable with their schedules to get to 10-2, which is why I'm like, okay, we might end up having four come out of SEC. Texas, obviously, because we both had already said we believe Texas is going to win the conference. They're going to get that guaranteed bid. And then, because there's so many strength of schedule conversations that happen. And there's always this perception that the SEC schedule is just so much harder than any other schedule that I feel like, yeah, an ACC team might get knocked out because of that. If I had to take an ACC team out in order to make this happen, if that makes sense, like there may be too much. There may be the whole strength of schedule thing, and if they're all 10-2, then
Yeah, I'm doing this
you know
because
what I'm
I'm
saying?
projecting that one of them gets 3 losses.
Those 9-3. Yeah,
Yeah, if they're all 10-2, they're all getting in. Like that's not a
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Like Georgia, Texas is going to be 12-0, 11-1. Like what if they're all if yeah yeah. The one thing I will say, because LSU plays Clemson, they have less room for error. But LSU has a super easy schedule. They play Louisiana Tech, Florida, Southeast Louisiana, Ole
Don't
Miss,
you love the
South
easy schedule?
Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Bama, Arkansas, Western Kentucky, Oklahoma. Again,
That's what I'm saying.
and here's the thing, I don't want people to get mixed up with the easy thing because I understand that I do think that the SEC as a whole is a hard schedule, right? I do get that. What I mean by easy is to their level. The only team that they play in the SEC that should beat them or is Bama, and they could beat Bama.
Yeah.
Like them and Bama, I kind of see equal this year. Everyone else that they play in the SEC is under them. Where again, Georgia plays Texas and Bama, right? Like you know what I mean? Like so they only play one of the top teams, and it's a team that they could beat. Like they're not even getting Texas. So
Yeah.
LSU should only have at max one loss in the SEC. And if they have one loss in the SEC, even if they lose to Clemson, they're in the SEC championship game and
Texas.
they're 10-2 worse. So,
And at large bid because they were in the championship game, because I feel like a lot of that is going to be going on of like not as a guarantee, but like a lot of a high chance that if you made it to the championship game in the conference, you're going to get a large bid probably for the playoffs too.
yeah.
So
Yep.
unless there's a whole conversation that we were having last week where like if you lost to them like more than once and all of that. But anyway, yeah,
Yep.
those are the vibes. We think the conference winners are obviously Texas. We've said that multiple times. I would be genuinely shocked if it wasn't, honestly. I'd be like on the floor, like,
Truly.
like this can't be real. But yeah, so I have nothing else to say about this. Yeah, I'm bored with them. I will continue to be bored with them. Maybe they'll entertain me later.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up the show, as we always do, we wrap our show with our last 2-minute report. Mine is going to be very quick. Trinity Rodman is one of the best soccer players in the world. Trinity Rodman has been injured with a back for months. She's barely played this season. She played for the first time yesterday, and she made the game winner.
Period. As she should.
Love that
Trinity
for her.
Rodman is a soccer player, by the way, if you guys are unaware.
I said that. I said she's one of the best soccer players in
Oh,
the
I
world.
didn't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah.
And if you
She
also
plays.
aren't unaware, the soccer player with the pink hair,
Yes.
not the white one, the black one, the pink braids.
Yes. Love that for her. It was definitely, she's at a point, like, you don't want anyone to be out with the injury, especially a back. But she came back and she got a goal in her first game, which is always big. But it was a game winner, which is even bigger,
That's
of course.
even better.
So,
I love that for her. I hope that Angel Reese comes back and does the same, because she also has a back injury, and it has been so hard to watch Chicago play basketball for the past couple weeks. Speaking of basketball, the Wings decided this morning that they were going to trade my first love, the woman who I would do anything for, Dejanay Carrington, to the Minnesota Lynx. And I just don't understand why you would play into levels of gluttony that are only described in the Bible. The Minnesota Lynx is already the best defensive team in the WNBA, and y'all just handed them an elite all WNBA defender, the reigning most improved player of the year. If we're tanking, just say that. Because, like, what? What? For, and I'm not, this is no shade to Diamond Miller. Diamond Miller is really, really good. The problem with Diamond Miller is she can't stay healthy long enough for us to see how good she actually is. But We got Diamond Miller. We got injured ass Carly Samuelson. Again, no shade to Carly Samuelson, but she does have a long term injury. So why would we trade away somebody who's actually productive for somebody with a long term injury? Does not make any sense. And then a 2027 second round pick. A lot of people are clocking that obviously Kurt Miller, who is the GM of the Dallas Wings, is clearly preparing to try to build some sort of team around Paige, mostly through the draft,
Yeah.
which is fine. That's fine. But one thing I will say is Letitia Tremble got fired for having a similar record to what the Dallas Wings has right now. So does that mean Chris Koklanis is also going to get fired? Because we're used to winning in Dallas.
Yeah.
We are used to winning. We are accustomed to winning. Now we have Arika Gumbwale and Paige Beckers. We need a couple bigs just to get it going. We're accustomed to winning. Oh, we also waived Tiara McCowan in order to make this deal happen. And Tiara McCowan was probably having one of her better seasons, even though she's not the best big. But she was having a good season. So I am distraught. I'm distraught. Kurt Miller is breaking up families. First Nalissa, now Dejanay.
Crazy.
And mind you, I'm pretty sure he brought one of them. I can't remember. I want to say it was announced first that Dejanay was on the Wings, and then they got Nalissa. I can't remember what order it was, but like they were very heavily like helpful in recruiting them both down to Dallas. So then to trade them both away mid-season like this is just crazy. And mind you, the Minnesota Lynx don't need no more weapons. So if you thought that the Minnesota Lynx weren't winning the championship prior, you should not be thinking that anymore. Congratulations, we just handed the Minnesota Lynx a wing. Excuse me.
Yeah. Well,
Hate it.
that's the show. As always, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with the Big Ten. Please, if you like the show, share with the family, post it on Instagram. Follow us on IG and YouTube at Get Defensive Sports Network. Follow us on TikTok at GD Sports Network. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and get the show out there. And that's all. We'll catch you next week.
Much.